Hello and welcome to Post-Burnout.com interviews. Post-Burnout.com is a culture website dedicated to venerating burnt-out artists the world over. My name is Aaron Kavanagh and I'm the website's founder and editor-in-chief. This is our website's podcast where we publish the full interviews from our site's articles and sometimes release exclusive episodes. Alright, in this edition of Post-Burnout.com interviews, we talk with Lisa Milk Murnane of the Dublin-based punk band Milk Murnane. This was an interview I wanted to get out before Christmas, and I have about 3 more interviews left that I'm hoping to get out before the end of the year. Christmas and stuff coming up. Some of these have been kind of backlogged for a while. I have one that I recorded back in October. So yeah, I'm trying trying to get through these and hopefully have a clean slate for January. And the reason I want to get this out before Christmas is that we have somewhat of an anti-seasonal song with Merry Fucking December, the new single from Milk Rain. The song deals with seasonal depression, and in the interview Lisa discusses the background of the song, her background as a musician, forming this band, the 3 year gap between it and their debut single Gedrosian, their upcoming EP, and much more. As Lisa mentions in the interview, the band are headlining on Shaw on Camden Street, Dublin on January 22nd, with support from Goblins and Mark and Luke. When I looked up the details online, there doesn't seem to be any ticket sales for this. It hasn't seemed to be announced yet, so I don't know, maybe this is an exclusive, but I'd say check the band's social media to hear more. Otherwise, I assume it's tickets at the door. I wasn't quite clear on that. Thank you very much and enjoy, and if I don't get another interview out before now and the birth of our Lord Jesus, have a Merry Christmas, have a Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you do or don't celebrate. Hope you enjoy it.
Hiya.
Hey Lisa, how's it going? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you perfectly. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Sorry I had to push it to later.
No worries, and I'm sorry it took me a while to actually set this up. I know you reached out a while ago, so I just wanted to make sure, like, just time. We're adults.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry,
exactly.
world. So have you been? I guess considering the topic of the song, how has December been for you thus far?
Comparatively good this year, actually. Honestly, I think it was a nice thing releasing it in the 1st of December to
Yeah.
kind of push myself to be motivated and do things and have a bit of a burst of energy at this stage of the year. Like, kind of historically every December I have a good low point. Obviously nowhere near as the low point as when I wrote the song
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Well,
But
actually,
it's
I
been a lot
kind
less
of
bad.
Well, when I was listening to the song, like I was, "Merry Fucking December" is the song we're talking about, by the way. Came out, as you said, on December 1st. When I was listening to the song, like I really related to the lyrics a lot because I tend to get that kind of melancholy around December too. The worst song I think I hear around this time of year is that John Lennon song, "Merry Xmas," where he's like, "Another Christmas." I'm like, "Oh, shut up."
Yeah. I start spiraling. Or the Elvis Blue Christmas, but there's a certain cover of it by a really elderly Irish man that
Okay.
sometimes comes up and just emotionally destroys me for a week anytime I hear it.
Do you get that kind of melancholy around the because I actually get it particularly around New Year's. I always like dread New Year's. I'm like, ugh, having to do like the festivities and things like that. Do you get that commonly, or was this just written about a particularly bad December?
Normally it's the around the Christmas period and the having to play happy
Yeah.
successfully kind of thing. And the way, like, with Irish people, a lot of the Christmas is the big sesh. And if you're already in a terrible kind of emotional place and you're going out drinking a lot, kind of to be like, no, everything's great, guys, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Added kind of strain. New Year's, the I'd always like kind of whip myself into shape with expectation, but a little bit that can be crushing as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate the anticipation, let's say. I'm like, come on, just get it over with. Let's just do this. But it's not so bad. It's like pulling a band-aid off, once you rip it off, it's not that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to ask about your background then, Lisa. So how long have you been kind of like into music yourself? What have you been kind of into? Because I know like with Milk Rain, like there's influences of punk and grunge. And actually I think like even that, like I think those descriptors aren't really good kind of reference points for like the actual sound of Milk Rain from the 2 singles we've heard this far. So I was wondering just maybe if we could get a little bit about your background and kind of like where you've come from and in terms of being a musician.
interestingly very strange beginning. I was obsessed with Weird Al as a 5-year-old, and would consistently like rewrite popular songs I was hearing on the radio to just whatever. Comically, the first song I ever wrote was as a 6-year-old talking about the Maastricht Treaty, which was going on at the time. I have no idea why I was plugged into that. Obviously, as I got a bit older, I kind of would have got more involved in more like big atmospheric music. I was a massive fan of Kate Bush.
Mhm.
Also Susie and the Banshees in a big way was very influential to me.
Yeah.
Um, and then a little bit later on, Mitzi would have been very important. What's fun with the band is I'd say actually all of us have slightly different musical reference points. Like my bassist Maeve, she's obsessed with Bikini Kill. And the more Riot Girl side of things, my drummer's obsessed with Geordie Creep.
Oh
Connor,
yeah.
Tombo, our guitarist, is obsessed with Prince. So we've quite different, all over the place musical points, but converging together into something that like we love campness, we love drama. Uh,
And then how did this project start then?
Um, actually, so I've been writing songs the whole way along, but I almost didn't feel like I was allowed to publish them or be public with it. To be like,
Yeah.
well, everybody writes songs, but mine are crap, so why would I do that?
Yeah.
And then during college, a friend of mine was doing like a very public musical project, and she was like, Lisa, that song you just sang there was better than my song that I about. You should do something. Um, and it was just kind of this like being told I was allowed by a peer. And then myself and my friend Maeve, who's our bassist, we've known each other since we were teenagers. We were always kind of like playing around, but had never decided on anything. And then finally, at the end of college, kind of funnily, January 2020, we would have decided to form the band.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing that definitely didn't fall off a cliff for a while.
So, you hadn't been in a band prior to that?
Um, a couple of little disasters, like
Yeah.
uh, a lot of very unfortunate being in a band for 2 weeks, somebody having a crush on me and having to leave
Okay.
because of annoying romance strangles. So I'd never got to like stay in a band long term without the bullshit relationship side of
Sure.
things tormenting everything.
Yeah, bands don't have a PR department, unfortunately, or a HR department, unfortunately. So,
Yes, exactly.
so, um, like when you kind of started this band with Maeve, then, so like, did you have an idea of what the music was going to be, or was it just like organically trying to elevate the music? You had kind of written the songs you'd written.
Um, it kind of started off with I had written like 10 or 12 songs, all actually having this really terrible therapist who was just like ripping memories and emotions out of me kind of willy-nilly. And I was like, oh crap, I can remember things now. Oh no.
Yeah.
And I was like rapidly processing that and churning them into songs, showed them to Maeve, and then we started working, kind of piecing it together of like, oh, actually, we can make nice structural songs with these. Um, and then kind of once we got through those, I just kept writing as we were going.
What's interesting, actually, you mentioned the therapy thing there is that, like, when you listen to the lyrics for this new song, is that, I get this real sense of like disassociation. Again, something else I relate to where you're like, holy shit, like all those years have kind of gone past. This is how old I am. You kind of don't really realize it because you're just like, for me, it's just like kind of disassociating, being in my own head a lot, kind of like realizing it too. So I actually relate to that a lot too, where you're like, holy shit, that happened. And I guess. Like, because I always felt like the passing of time, which is something the song kind of deals with, is sometimes I'm like, shit, that was like 20 years ago. What the hell? And like then I
Yeah.
actually think about it and I kind of meditate on it a little bit. I'm like, I guess that makes sense, you know? It's such a weird relationship. I think we have a time. Do you have that too, where it's like you just find that like, oh shit, 5 years has passed, or all this time has passed, or do you find that you're much better at being kind of, I guess, centered in the present?
It's shocking how fast time can pass, and then you look and go, "Oh God, that was
Yeah,
5 years of my life,"
yeah,
um, or that you can be like, "Oh, it's another depressing December again. Oh, this is the 14th consecutive one of those,"
yeah.
um, and how that can kind of put into perspective of the I haven't gotten as far as perhaps I would like to in life.
Absolutely. And do you find like even with say the life of this band, I mean, you mentioned started almost 6 years ago now. Does it feel that long?
No, not at all. And which of course is the perils of beginning at the worst imaginable time
Yeah.
in history. Because like then we didn't get to see each other for about a year in person.
Yeah.
Just like writing on Zoom calls basically and vaguely collaborating. Even getting Gedrosian out was an absolute disaster in between lockdowns and crackdowns.
I can
Um,
imagine.
it certainly doesn't feel, it feels nearly like 3 years because we've probably only been like seriously gigging for 2.5.
Hmm.
Um, and there's been massive, like, we've had a growth spurt, I'd say, in the last 2 years in terms of how competent we are and how much fun we're having on stage as well.
Well, before we talk about your debut single, how did the other members, I guess, kind of come into into the fold then?
I met Thomas Earls, our guitarist, just gardening in our friend's back garden.
Oh, really?
I hadn't realized we were actually in a bunch of the same classes, but he was sitting way in the back, so I hadn't seen him for the first like year in college. It was a lot of honestly like circumstance, and then Connor in particular was like, "We need to get Tom on board."
And when it came to actually releasing your first single, so it came out in 2022. Obviously, been like a gap of 3 years, which I want to talk about. But just as you mentioned, like as you were kind of like trying to get that out, like during the lockdowns and stuff like that, it was like really haltering things. So, how did it feel to finally have your first song out in the world?
Oh, it was, yeah. To finally have it finished felt like n both ripping off a band-aid and giving birth to a certain extent. And a mild anticlimax as well. Like I didn't know a lot. I knew nothing about PR and
Yeah,
promoting myself at the time. So I
yeah.
was kind of like, I'm so incredibly proud of my baby. And then released it to a black hole to virtually not a lot reception. Um,
It's just
but I was
unfortunate
very
reality I think a
proud
lot
of
of
it.
people are going through now. Sorry, go ahead.
I was very, very proud of it
Sorry.
to have finished it.
And how do you kind of like look back on that song now? I mean, like, because I actually think it's like a really good like kind of introduction to this project. I mean, because I'm basing off the two songs that are out like now, and I think you really do have a very like unique style. I mean, there's a lot of like I think really thoughtful, reflective, introspective lyrics going on. That's the thing that I think draws me to the band the most is uh really kind of getting the inside of like someone's psyche. That's how I find about it. But as you kind of develop as yourself, as not necessarily just as a musician, but just as a person, do you often find that things you wrote at one point uh, no longer resonate, or do you find that everything you put out is sort of a story from your life, so to speak?
They are very stories from my life. I think for the first year after releasing Gedrosian, I would kind of be like, "Ooh, ooh, baby Lisa, you didn't know what you were doing." Whereas now I kind of look at it with a lot more empathy to be like, actually, I really see what I was talking about there, you poor thing, Lisa.
Yeah.
Um, where I got very obsessed with Alexander the Great, which in part that is what the song is about, that I went power mad by myself. Um, um, and though I'm kind of trying to make sense of it, and that emptiness of being power mad in a vacuum.
Yeah.
I believe I would have written it shortly after the end of the Leaving Cert for me.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, like I wrote that probably like 6 or 7 years ago now, or even longer, 8 years ago at this point. Yeah,
And
Jesus.
uh and there's like as I mentioned, there's been like a 3 year gap rather between that single and this new single. So uh as you were mentioning, you're kind of playing live in between them, but uh, did you expect it to be that long between, or is again just like oh time kind of catch up?
Time, yeah, and interestingly, the arson incidents referenced in the newer song did majorly get in the way of us speeding up recording. Um, because our producer was living with us in the same house at the same
Oh,
time.
okay.
Um, so kind of the sheer stress of not knowing when something perilous is about to suddenly happen, possibly mid-recording, um, kind of had us all at this insane stress level where even finishing, like we have a EP coming up, secret, uh,
Okay.
and we have been working on it the whole time. But there was a whole like month where the front window of the house got broken, so the recording sound of the room was busted, completely destroyed. You could hear the road now.
Yeah. Oh well. So that pick up on the recording.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we've had our like both logistical and managing kind of issues of just getting everybody in the same room, and then almost acts of God that have gotten in the way.
Or at least that's what you told the insurance company.
No, exactly. Yeah. Or our landlord did anyway.
I want to talk then about the DP, if however much you can
Sure, yeah.
disclose at this point. I assume it's coming out like perhaps next year. Is that like the aim? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
if it's not next year, I'll go crazy.
okay, it might be 3 more years. It might be 2028.
And I'll be a very different man at that point.
So, did you record like the? So, actually, sorry, is Merry Fucking December part of the EP, or is this just its own single?
That's a standalone single. Actually produced by my partner, separate producer for this one, and we had this one-off incidents. Very interestingly, we didn't realize the day we were recording the song was the day before another major incidents of this house. Um, so it was kind of this like a capsule moment of wanting to capture that feeling during the time.
Yeah,
I'd written the song. I was like, I really like this. I'm not at the time. I wasn't even sure if it was going to be a Milk Rain song.
yeah,
Um, but I did. We through working with it with the gang, we were like, no, no, we'll get more. We'll get you guys on it more.
and
But
sorry,
yeah, always intended as kind of a standalone.
and then for the EP itself. So, how many songs are you kind of like looking at? However much you can kind of tease at the moment.
Three. I
Three
can say
songs, cool.
three songs. And it's kind of like a particular story as well. We've got beginning, middle, end kind of for the EP.
So did you for the EP did you like write it as one collected piece, or were they just like individual songs you had written at some point and then you kind of realized when put together it made like an overarching narrative that would kind of complemented each other when put together, or how the EP come about, I guess.
It would have been two, almost I would call it outburst writing.
Yeah,
Um, so for two of them, it was borderline a tantrum, I would say, and wrote out those two songs, I believe, in the same day. And then a couple of weeks later, I wrote a third song that I thought was unrelated, but then on closer inspection, I was like, oh, I'm completely calling myself out and my pattern of behavior here in this song. So it's kind of a nice like conclusion of what I did wrong. The next song I would have written 2 to 3 weeks later, thinking I was talking about something completely unrelated, and then on closer inspection realized I was like pointing out my weird pattern of behavior that I was
yeah.
quite explicitly, um, and almost in like here is an intro to the dysfunction you're about to see in this EP. And kind of that's what that song serves as. Like, let you into this incredibly weird world I've built for myself. And then the outcomes.
As a personal like writer yourself, I have to ask this. You find like have you ever put stuff to paper and kind of gone, oh geez, I can't like release this. Like I don't know. I think this might be too personal. Or are you kind of like, I'm an open book, whatever I have to say, I will say.
Yes, there's certainly like in the broad scheme of things, I'm an open book generally, or I'm
Hmm.
very happy to talk about quite vulnerable, big things. Though there are certain songs that the way I wrote it, I don't want to do that to people. Like I don't want to almost like inject a mental illness into people that aren't me almost. So there's
No,
certain things I hold back.
I've heard that from like other writers. I'm very interested in this. I think like specifically in an Irish context, there's always this fear of like, people knowing who it's about or something like that, or knowing what's going on and people not wanting to reveal. I think it's funny because I think Irish people have kind of a reputation of being very like open and forthright, but like I think also are very reticent and very like, insular in a lot of ways, if anything's personal. So, I don't know, have you ever gotten feedback from people that you know in your life about certain things? Like, does it feel like a cry for help?
Yes, to a certain and sometimes even the band members as well. Like when I first showed everybody Merry fucking December, they were like, "Are you okay? Is everything going all right?" And same with my mum in particular. She was like, "Well, I'm not sure how I feel about the lyrics on this song," which I understand. Um, in fairness, people don't generally tell me to stop, which I appreciate. No one has kind of been the like, this is coming across like a desperate cry for help because I kind of
Yeah,
like to think that I'm in the lyrics reinterpolating my trauma and the drama of my life
yeah.
to at least say something with it. Oh, you might be able to see my cat moving around in the background.
I can't see the cat. So when you do that, like when you kind of put like as you said, reinterpolating your trauma, do you find that beneficial for you, or is it just something that you feel the need to do? Because like I don't know, like again, this is something I've spoken to other artists about, and like you see very mixed results. Like some people feel like it feels a little daunting. Some people feel it's very relieving. You know, it really depends on the individual. So for you, I mean, has do you find it's helped your mental health outside the band, or is it just art?
It- to some extent, it begins as art, but then as we keep working on it, it kind of actually does become helpful when it's like I'm reclaiming the agency over this, and kind of like, well, as the writer and then as the director of the band, it's very much so like this is how I am choosing to convey this story. So it's very much so putting something that was outside of my control in my control,
Mhm.
kind of like
Uh,
an agency, yeah, or a test of free will to a certain
Okay.
extent.
Perfect. Well, thanks very much for your time, Lisa. It's been really lovely chatting with you. I just want to ask one fun thing, actually. When Merry Fucking December came out, like I actually noticed it got like a lot of traction. Like I've seen it popping up a lot on social media and stuff. So I was wondering, like, have you found because you were mentioning with your first song like that you know kind of just went into the void. Do you find that this is kind of getting an audience now? Are people kind of seeing it more?
I'm kind of astounded by the fact that it is getting an audience. It's
Yeah.
actually been really wonderful, and I'm a little confused as to who all these people are. Uh,
Who are
um,
you?
yeah, like we're getting a bunch of streams from Serbia, and I don't know
Nice.
anybody who lives in Serbia. So it's been really, really lovely. Part of it, I will props to a friend of mine for like kind of taking my hand and teaching me how to do social media better. Shout out to Ella for that.
Shout out Ella.
But yeah, the having some reception at all, it's a lot more relieving to a certain extent rather than kind of like, I made this thing, please look at it. Never mind, don't worry about me. And it's like, oh, people actually like it. Wow, thanks. Like,
Well, actually, do you find that tenacity to kind of go like, I'm going to put this out there and I'm going to like try and reach people? Is that kind of like, I don't know, personal development too? Like just in terms of having the
yeah.
confidence to kind of go, no, here it is, like pay attention.
And it has to be like a fake it till you make it. I think
Yeah.
there's very few people in the world comfortable shilling themselves at the
Yeah,
start.
absolutely. Yeah, no, it's a very awkward thing. Like, and some people feel like it's really good. I heard I forget who it was, but I think it's like Jack Antonoff or something, and he was saying like they asked him like how do successful musicians like what's the common factor between successful musicians, and he said something like delusion. I
Right, yeah.
think I think if you're like delusional enough to be like I'm gonna be, you know, an arena selling artist, then you probably will be. But I think for most people, we're a little more humble in our expectations. So
And
maybe we should
almost too
all.
realistic. One day,
Yeah.
I have a couple of like shockingly unrealistic goals. I would love to be on Graham Norton one day, and
Okay.
that's nearly
See,
like
that seems feasible.
my
That
North
seems
Star.
feasible.
Yeah, and he's from Cork, so I got a chance.
Just every time you release something, just like tag his social media, he might see it.
That's a good idea. Yeah, put him in my
Yeah.
close friend story or something.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time, Lisa.
Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap up? And generally, do you want to tell people where they can find Milk Rain
Yeah, you can find us on pretty much all the good social medias. Like
and the
we got
bad ones?
Instagram, we got TikTok. We're actually trying to slightly push more like sales and streams on the Bandcamp to get some of the money away from the more evil companies, to be honest, on the side
Sure.
of streaming. Um, I'd like to specifically thank everybody who helped me on the music videos and Gemma Bovenizer, who's a wonderful cinematographer. Um, who else should I thank? Oh, and everybody who during the arson incidents took shifts sleeping with us to prevent us all from dying. That was great.
We literally couldn't be here without you.
Yes. To Spielberg, our good friend.
Yes.
Oh, and thank you to all my bandmates for putting up with me and being patient.
Actually, sorry, I'm sorry. I know I said I was going to let you go. I just had one final thought, just when you brought that up. As we mentioned, the songwriting is like very individual for you, and then you kind of bring it to the rest of the band. I was wondering now, is with Milk Rain now that you have like the solid core, is the songwriting become more collaborative, or is this still
Yeah.
the kind of dimension? How does that kind of work? I guess in terms of like a band dynamic.
I'd say most of our newer songs still kind of work in the format of I write the majority of it, but
Yeah.
bring it to the band and then we figure out what everybody else is doing. But it can be quite flexible. But now we're starting to do this thing at the end of a practice session where we just make noise and see what happens. And we've actually written four or so really, really fun, good songs.
Okay. So we can expect to hear them soon.
Possibly, or hopefully in the next 10 years. Uh,
Perfect. And do you have any live shows around you want to plug, or is that going to be like decided next year?
we definitely have a live show on the 22nd of January in on show.
Okay,
That should be
perfect.
really good fun.
I'll plug that. Yeah, perfect.
Oh, thanks a
Who
million.
else? Who else is playing? Is it you guys and are you
And
headlining?
goblins. Yeah, well,
Goblin, sick.
I think we'll be headlining, and yeah, I've got goblins on the bill, possibly Mark and Luke. On
Oh,
need to
okay.
confirm that with them.
I saw Mark and Luke. They're nuts. They're great.
They're
Like I mean,
incredible.
when I say nuts, I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah, absolutely love them.
Perfect. Thanks very much for your time, Lisa. And
Thank you.
I'll hopefully pop along to that from around. So I'll see
Oh,
you then,
brilliant.
maybe.
Thank you so much for this. This has been wonderful.
Oh, absolutely. And seriously, if anyone listens, stream the song. It's really good. It's really I don't know how to describe it. It's very Christmassy. You get that kind of like jingling bells kind of thing going on, but the lyrics are, I think, really sincere and something that at least I can relate to, and I think a lot of people might, even if they don't realize they do. I think a lot of people might
Yeah.
listen to it and go, "Holy shit, I get seasonal depression," you know?
Right, yeah. You're like, oh, this is a problem, actually.
Yeah. Well, that's what I love about music is that like I've talked about this before where it's like I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but like sometimes you like a song, like, wow, this song's really good, and then like years later you'll have different life events and you'll go back to that song and be like, oh shit, that's what they were singing about.
Right,
Oh
yeah, this
shit, now I
means
get
something to
it.
me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's happened to me so many times where it's just like just as I grow older, I listen back to songs I liked when I was a teenager or whatever, and I'm like, oh shit, this is what was going on.
Right. Yeah, Stevie Nicks means a lot more after you've been cheated on. That's
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Take care of yourself, Lisa, and enjoy the
Thank
rest
you.
of December.
Yes, you too. Have a good one. Happy
You
Christmas.
too. Merry Christmas. Bye. Thank you for listening to that episode of Post-Burnout.com interviews. We're available wherever you get your podcasts, so we hope that you enjoyed and would consider subscribing, giving it a like on YouTube, or a rating anywhere else. We also have some exclusive episodes only available on Spotify, which features interviews with the likes of Kim Deal, Ron Mail of Sparks, Jacob Slater of Wonder Horse, Maria Kelly, Gavin Friday, and many more. So check those out if you're so inclined. Otherwise, thank you for listening and see you next time.